Ryan Gosling arrived at the opulent aircraft dealership on a crisp afternoon in Bel Air, his presence a study in understated contrast. Dressed in a faded denim jacket, worn dark jeans, and an old cap pulled low over his eyes, he looked every bit the ordinary man. So ordinary that he seemed almost invisible amidst the glittering displays of luxury jets. The showroom, a marvel of modern design with polished marble floors and towering glass walls reflecting the pristine silhouettes of aircraft, exuded an air of exclusivity that catered only to the wealthiest clients. As he stepped through the automatic sliding doors, the ambient hum of hushed conversations and clinking glasses filled the space. Yet a subtle murmur of skepticism trailed in his wake. No sooner had he taken his first few steps than a tall, impeccably dressed salesman with blonde hair and a tailored suit fixed his gaze upon Ryan. The salesman's eyes narrowed as he took in Ryan's casual attire, a stark departure from the polished image typically expected by clients in this environment. With an arched eyebrow and a dismissive sneer, the salesman approached briskly. "Sir," he said in a tone that dripped with condescension, "are you sure you're in the right place? We cater to a very exclusive clientele here." His voice carried the weight of assumption as if Ryan's appearance alone rendered him unworthy of the privileges offered in the showroom. Ryan's expression remained calm and impassive as he replied, "I'm here to see some aircraft models, if you would be so kind." His tone was courteous yet carried a quiet firmness that hinted at an inner confidence not easily rattled. The salesman scoffed, shaking his head as he led Ryan past rows of luxurious jets that gleamed under the soft glow of designer lighting. As they walked through the showroom, the salesman continued with a series of thinly veiled jabs about Ryan's apparent lack of sophistication. "Our models here are the pinnacle of luxury, jets that cost more than most people's homes. I'm not sure you can truly appreciate these, given your attire." His words were meant to belittle, to remind Ryan that in this world, every detail of appearance counted for something. Ryan listened quietly, his eyes taking in every detail: the sleek lines of the aircraft, the polished surfaces that reflected the opulence of high society, and the subtle yet unmistakable disdain in the salesman's tone. At each turn, Ryan's calm demeanor only seemed to heighten the salesman's irritation. Finally, as they reached a private viewing area lined with the most exclusive jets, the salesman stopped abruptly and pointed to a model labeled Falcon LX900. "This jet," he declared with exaggerated emphasis, "is the finest we have. It's designed for those who truly understand power and prestige. I'm not convinced you're in a position to appreciate its value." Ryan's eyes flickered with a hint of amusement before his smile grew serene. "It's an impressive machine," he said steadily. "But tell me, is it truly the most exclusive model in your collection?" The question, simple yet direct, caught the salesman off guard. His carefully rehearsed facade wavered for a split second, his eyes darting around as if searching for a way to regain control. The room fell into an uneasy silence as Ryan's inquiry hung in the air. Slowly, the salesman cleared his throat and pointed to another jet, the Gulfstream G7500, his voice now laced with forced patience. "Yes, this one," he replied, "priced at $70 million. It's the ultimate expression of luxury." Ryan nodded thoughtfully, his gaze lingering on the jet before him, and then asked softly, "But is it truly the most exclusive one here?" His tone was not mocking, but inquisitive, a challenge that forced the salesman to reconsider his assumptions. The salesman's expression shifted dramatically. His confident smile faded, replaced by a look of pure disbelief as the truth began to dawn on him. For a moment, time seemed to slow as Ryan's calm words echoed through the immaculate space, a stark reminder that respect should not be reserved for appearances alone. The tension in the room reached its peak as the salesman, now visibly shaken, stuttered an apology. I'm sorry, sir," he managed, his voice faltering under the weight of Ryan's quiet authority. At that moment, the showroom's atmosphere transformed from one of smug arrogance to one of respectful silence. Ryan simply smiled, his eyes kind yet unwavering. "There's no need for apologies," he said softly. "All I ask is that every person here is treated with the respect they deserve." His words carried a power that resonated not only with the salesman, whose earlier condescension now seemed pitiful, but also with the few onlookers who had witnessed the exchange. As Ryan continued to browse the exquisite models, the tension gradually subsided. The salesman, his earlier hostility replaced by a humbled silence, fell into line behind the manager, who now approached Ryan with genuine courtesy. "Mr. Gosling, it is an absolute pleasure to have you with us tonight," the manager said, his tone warm and sincere. The atmosphere, once thick with unspoken judgments, had been transformed by Ryan's calm insistence on fairness and dignity. Ryan's visit that evening turned into much more than a simple meal or a casual tour of luxury jets. It became a lesson in humility, respect, and the transformative power of looking beyond appearances. As he left the showroom with a renewed sense of purpose and a quiet smile on his lips, he knew that sometimes the most powerful impact is made not by the flash of wealth or status, but by the steadfast belief that every individual, no matter how they present themselves, deserves to be treated with genuine courtesy and humanity. Ryan Gosling lingered in the private viewing area, the tension of the earlier confrontation slowly dissolving into a reflective silence. The VIP lounge, once an austere realm of gleaming metal and hushed whispers, now felt charged with the promise of change. As he moved slowly from one aircraft to the next, he noticed that the atmosphere had subtly shifted. The other staff, who had previously exchanged knowing glances and hushed criticisms, now seemed to carry a weight of introspection. Every polished jet, from the sleek Falcon LX900 to the imposing Gulfstream G500, appeared as a testament not only to engineering marvel, but also to the human relationships that underpinned such opulence. Ryan's calm presence had forced the arrogant salesman into a corner, and now, with the store manager Andre standing nearby, the tension that had once radiated off every step of the salesman had begun to wane. The manager's eyes, once filled with cautious oversight, now held a glimmer of hope that true hospitality could prevail. Ryan decided to take advantage of this moment to explore the collection more intimately, not as a celebrity, but as an individual with genuine curiosity about the artistry and craftsmanship behind each aircraft. He moved from one model to another, asking thoughtful questions about performance, design, and the story behind the technology. His inquiries were gentle, yet probing, challenging the assumptions of those around him without descending into confrontation. As Ryan examined the intricate details of a particularly striking jet, a model that boasted advanced fuel efficiency and a luxurious interior lined with Italian leather, he could feel his earlier experience with the salesman still echoing in his mind. The memory of Mallory's thinly veiled condescension and the salesman's escalating hostility underscored a deeper issue: the tendency to judge based on appearance rather than substance. He wondered how many clients had been similarly dismissed, how many potential partnerships had been derailed by mere superficial assessments. With a quiet resolve, he noted these thoughts, vowing that his presence here was not to flaunt wealth, but to inspire change. Around him, the murmur of discreet conversations grew louder as staff members whispered about the earlier exchange. Some even dared to cast sideways glances toward Ryan, their expressions a mixture of admiration and self-reproach. The incident had sparked a quiet rumble among the employees, as if the veneer of exclusivity had cracked open to reveal the humanity beneath. Andre soon returned, and in a hushed conversation away from the prying eyes of the other staff, he expressed his deep regret for the unprofessional behavior that had marred the earlier part of the evening. "We strive for excellence, but not at the expense of respect," he confided, his voice earnest. "Tonight has shown us that true sophistication is measured not by ostentation, but by the courtesy we extend to every guest." Ryan listened, his gaze softening with empathy. He knew that while the salesmanship of the establishment was built on rigid standards, it could still be transformed by a sincere commitment to humanity. Later, as Ryan continued his tour, he noticed that the energy in the room had taken on a different character. The salesman, who had earlier tried to belittle him, now moved with a stiff gait, his earlier arrogance replaced by a palpable unease. Whispers followed him as he scurried away to consult with his colleagues. It was clear that his authority had been undermined by Ryan's unyielding calm, a realization that resonated with everyone present. The other guests, who had once seemed so detached and indifferent, now offered warm smiles and respectful nods as Ryan passed by. In that moment, the entire showroom seemed to exhale, the heavy tension giving way to a renewed commitment to fairness. Ryan's meal had concluded, and the check was discreetly processed. As he prepared to leave, Andre approached him once more, his expression thoughtful and respectful. "Mr. Gosling, I sincerely appreciate your patience and your perspective tonight," Andre said quietly. "Your presence here has reminded us that every client, no matter how they present themselves, deserves the utmost respect. We will be taking immediate steps to ensure our staff upholds these values." Ryan's eyes twinkled with modest satisfaction. "Thank you, Andre," he replied. "I believe that small moments of understanding can lead to significant change." His words carried the weight of personal experience, of times when he, too, had been underestimated or judged by appearances. Outside the restaurant, under the soft glow of the city lights, Ryan paused for a moment. The cool night air carried with it not only the lingering scent of fine cuisine, but also the promise of new beginnings. As he walked down the illuminated boulevard, he thought about the subtle power of kindness and respect, a reminder that true luxury is not measured by the price tag on an aircraft or the cut of one's suit, but by the dignity with which we treat one another. His mind drifted to all those who had felt invisible in the pursuit of exclusivity, and he resolved to use his platform, no matter how discreetly, to advocate for a world where every person is seen and valued. Back at Marseille & Coney, the transformation was already making ripples. Social media buzzed with the story of the evening, a renowned actor who had simply insisted on being treated with respect, prompting a wave of apologies and introspection among the staff. The once condescending sales team now faced a turning point, and several members, moved by Ryan's quiet challenge, began to question the very culture of exclusivity that had governed their interactions. Ryan's encounter had become more than a personal experience. It had become a lesson in humility and a call for change that resonated far beyond the polished floors of the showroom. As he drove away, Ryan felt a profound sense of clarity. Tonight had been a reminder that true sophistication lies not in the ostentatious display of wealth, but in the genuine connection between people, a connection built on mutual respect and understanding. With every mile that took him further from Marseille and Kourou, he carried with him the hope that the lessons of the evening would spread, inspiring others to look beyond appearances and embrace the humanity in every encounter. And, as the city lights blurred into the distance, Ryan Gosling's quiet smile and resolute demeanor echoed a simple truth. Respect is the ultimate luxury, and it's a treasure worth fighting for. Ryan Gosling left Marseille & Company that night with a quiet satisfaction that belied the earlier tension. As he stepped back into the cool Los Angeles evening, the city around him seemed to pulse with a subtle promise of change. Inside the restaurant, the atmosphere had been irrevocably altered by the events that unfolded, a transformation that rippled from the elegant dining room to the very heart of the staff. The manager, Andre, had taken swift and decisive action, convening an emergency meeting with his team. In hushed tones and somber expressions, the employees recounted the incidents of condescension and disrespect, and Andre had laid out a plan for immediate reform. Across the polished marble floors, Mallory's earlier haughtiness had given way to a contrite silence. In the days that followed, whispers of a new customer service policy spread throughout Marseille and Coney, ensuring that every guest, regardless of their appearance or background, would receive the courtesy they deserved. The change was not instantaneous, but gradually, the rigid walls of exclusivity began to soften. Mallory herself, faced with the undeniable authority of the manager's decision and the undeniable truth of Ryan's calm persistence, started to reconsider the assumptions she had long held. In quiet moments backstage, she would lower her gaze, her mind swirling with thoughts of how pride and prejudice could hurt not only others, but also herself. Meanwhile, Ryan Gosling's visit had become more than a dinner. It had turned into a lesson in humility and human dignity that resonated far beyond the confines of a single evening. The incident was shared discreetly among patrons and later caught the attention of local media. Social media buzzed with praise for Ryan's measured response, a reminder that respect is not a privilege reserved for the elite, but a basic human right. Industry insiders, often quick to champion superficial glamour, found themselves reflecting on the deeper meaning of true luxury, a state of mind where kindness and decency reigned supreme. In the wake of the confrontation, the manager Andre personally reached out to Ryan, inviting him to join a roundtable discussion with other local business leaders about improving customer service standards and promoting inclusivity. Ryan accepted, not as a celebrity seeking accolades, but as an advocate for the values he held dear. At that meeting, he spoke candidly about the importance of treating every person with respect, regardless of outward appearances. His words, calm and sincere, struck a chord with those present, sparking commitments from several high-end establishments to review their own practices. The dialogue initiated that night began to ripple through the community, changing mindsets, softening attitudes, and reminding people that true luxury is found in the warmth of genuine interactions. As weeks turned into months, Marseille & Comey continued to evolve. The new training programs and revised policies were slowly implemented, and while not every change was immediate, the overall atmosphere grew more welcoming. Guests who once hesitated now felt at ease, and even the staff appeared more relaxed, their smiles genuine rather than forced. Ryan returned to the restaurant once more, this time not as an anonymous diner, but as a respected guest, greeted warmly by a noticeably improved team. Mallory, still working behind the scenes, caught his eye and offered a small, apologetic smile, a silent acknowledgement of the lesson learned and the chance to move forward. Outside, the city of Los Angeles continued its relentless pace, its neon lights reflecting off sleek glass towers and historic facades alike. Yet in one corner of that vast urban tapestry, a moment of quiet transformation had taken root, a moment when one man's refusal to accept injustice had ignited a change in a place built on appearances. Ryan's journey that night had been a reminder that every encounter, no matter how fleeting, holds the potential to change lives. By standing up for what was right, he had not only defended the dignity of one, but had set in motion a wave of introspection and improvement that could uplift many. As he drove away from Marseille & Compagnie on that cool, starlit night, Ryan Gosling felt the gentle hum of the engine and the promise of a new dawn. In his heart, he knew that the legacy of that evening, marked by courage, humility, and a commitment to respect, would serve as a beacon for others. It was a testament to the enduring power of empathy and the belief that even in a world dazzled by luxury, true worth is measured by our capacity to treat one another with kindness. And so, with a quiet smile, he merged onto the busy highway, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, confident that his actions had helped to spark a change that would resonate far into the future.